Hello and pranam everyone. So the topic of this video is going to be acquiring new skills and a psychological perspective to it. Basically, we'll be trying to understand the concept of fading, shaping and chaining. So first of all, let's have a look at why acquiring new skills is very important for your personal and professional growth. Many times you must have felt that some of the habits you have are not good and you might have wanted to change it. आपको कई बार ऐसा लग सकता है कि you have done something wrong or something which you were not wanting to do but still it happened. Why it happened? Because that was your habit. So sometimes you do feel that your behavior should have been different, your habits should have been different, you should have had different habits. So that is why you need to acquire new habits for your personal growth. And for professional growth, why do you need to form new habits? See, when you'll have good habits, they'll increase the chances of adaptation. You need to be more adaptive in order to be more efficient in your professional environment. So if you want to be more productive, more adaptive, you need to have good habits according to that. You need to have a habit of conversation. You need to have a habit of not procrastinating your work. You need to have a habit of setting your goals. So all of these different kind of habits, I'm just giving examples. So all of these different kind of habits, they're needed for your personal and professional growth. So there I've discussed about why do you need to form new habit. Now let's talk about the concept of fading, shaping and chaining. So you must have heard of behavior modification techniques. Behavior modification techniques, the sum was first of all talked previously. It was talked by Edward Thorndike. He talked about it in an article of him. So behavior modification typically refers to the process of like changing behavior, bringing some new changes in behavior. And what kind of behavior needs to be changed? Behavior which is maladaptive, behavior which is not suitable to the environment, behavior which is not context appropriate, behavior which is not liked by society, behavior which does not seem appropriate. That behavior needs to be changed. So behavior modification is typically used for maladaptive behaviors, but it is also used for introducing new behaviors in person. Like if you want a person to learn new habits, you are gonna reward or reinforce those behaviors to increase the frequency of occurrence of those behaviors. So the concept of fading, shaping and chaining under behavior modification is that fading is a concept, where we gradually decrease the amount of support given to a person so that the person is able to perform that behavior independently. Because we do not want, like, when you were riding a cycle, I do think that most of us must have had the similar experience when you were learning to ride a bicycle. Your parents, your father, or your big brother, or anyone out of your guardians, or anyone who have taught you to ride the bicycle to you, must have heard the bicycle from the back, must have supported you. At first they must have had given you the maximum support that was possible during that situation. So first of all, they had given maximum support. Then they gradually went to just touching the bicycle and letting you think that the support is still existing. Then they were just standing beside you to let you be comfortable and think that if you'll fall or if something happens to you, they're there to handle the situation, or they're there to handle you and support you throughout. And then they just let you go out on your own and let you ride the bicycle. So that is fading, decreasing the amount of support. So this is fading, and the next comes shaping. What is shaping? Shaping is actually a technique where we want to introduce a new behavior in a person. We want a person to read books. Okay, we want a person to read book and write articles and to reflect upon that book. So what would we do in that order? So in shaping, what we do, we select a target behavior. Say there is a target behavior, and we just decide simpler, smaller steps. So, those smaller steps are given reinforcement in order to achieve the target goal, in order to make the person perform that target behavior. This is shaping. The next and last comes chaining. What is chaining? Chaining is kind of similar to shaping. You better not get confused between these two terms. Chaining is the process where you like break down a behavior into simpler steps. In shaping, we were giving reinforcements out of after smaller steps. In chaining, what we are doing is we are just breaking down the final target behavior into smaller steps. We are breaking down into smaller steps because we want the behavior to be performed very efficiently, and because the behavior might be hard and the person or the individual might not be able to perform the behavior at all once at all. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to break it into the simpler steps. For example, there's a word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay, I heard of this word somewhere, and after that, a newer word came, which was known to be the biggest word in this word ever. So I do not remember that word, but supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and a lot of words like that. You might not be able to pronounce it. So what do people do? They break down it into smaller terms. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And then you combine it. This is what chaining it in terms of behavior. You select a target behavior, you break it down into smaller steps, and then you chain the whole process. Then you connect the whole process so that the new behavior is acquired. So these are what shaping, chaining, and fading are. Now let's talk about these different techniques and how can they be used in your daily life to acquire new habits, new behaviors, and let you live an optimum life, because that's the ultimate goal of life, my friends. You need to live an optimum life. That's what we are all born for, to realize our actual potential, to realize our actual self. That's what Jung talks about. The final step, the final thing which we want in our life is to realize our actual potential, to work at our optimum potentials. Like, if anyone asks me out that what is my biggest goal and what is my biggest desire, so I would say to work at my optimum potential. I just want to see that what is the most, what is the maximum I can do. Minimum, obviously, minimum I've been doing for a lot of years, number of years. I've been doing minimum since my childhood. But what is the maximum I can perform? What is my true potential? I do not know, because it is said in yogic science and in indigenous psychology and also spiritual psychology has a lot of theories about it, that the potential of mind is extraordinary. It is unbelievable. It has no limits. It is unlimited. You can just get to know about every little thing and every bigger thing through this mind. So if you realize the actual potential of the mind, just think where you would be at. So yeah, that's why we should be able to uh, acquire new habits in order to live an optimum life, in order to know what we can do our best, what we can perform best at, and how can we do our best. So first of all, how can shaping be used as a technique to acquire new behaviors in your daily life or new habits in your daily life? We have already talked about what shaping is and how it works. So, just suppose that you want to make a habit of studying books, okay? And you are a person who gets annoyed by just watching a simple YouTube short or simple reel of 15 seconds, and you can't even withstand that 15 seconds, those 15 seconds. How do you think would you be able to read a whole book, read a whole freaking book? How would it be possible for you? So what you're gonna do is just use the simple technique of shaping. That's why we psychologists, not a psychologist, I'm not a psychologist, but yeah, that's what the people who study psychology are, and we are actually of very use to you if you consider and if you really consider the things which we talk about, because a lot of people nowadays are okay, I'm a psychologist too, I'm a psychologist too, even if I do not know a single thing about it, I'm still a psychologist. So shaping, yeah, we were there, back to it. How can it be used? If suppose, yeah, for example, if you want to make a habit of studying books, how would be the technique of shaping be use of YouTube? So what would you do is, when you read a page, no, not a page, for a person who's just starting and who can't even focus on something for 15 seconds, bare even minimum 15 seconds, those freaking 15 seconds, yes. So just read a paragraph and reward yourself. Reward yourself with anything you like, anything which gives you pleasure. It might be chocolate, it might be talking with your boyfriend or girlfriend, it might be talking with your loved ones, it might be just listening to a song or anything, or just again watching a reel or YouTube short, but I would suggest not doing that. So, reward yourself with anything which gives you pleasure. Okay? After writing,